Welcome to another Down the Road Show podcast. This is another episode of my new series, Cannabis Conversations with Casey. I am here with one of my new friends today, David. How you doing today, David? We're here to talk about first of all, your travel agent. You've been doing that for quite a while, but we're here to highlight and promote your awesome Jamaican cannabis retreat, which will be expanding from there for anyone who wants to do other cannabis retreats in your local areas. Hit up David. He's looking to expand out from Jamaica. But let's get started with your love of Jamaica and how you got involved in that country.
Thank you, Casey. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is David. I am a travel agent. Been a travel agent since 2006. Actually been specializing in the all-inclusive market down there. Just been selling Jamaica since day one. I love that place. My first experience in Jamaica was back actually in 1995. I wanted on the radio. So that was how I fell in love with Jamaica. We went down with 30 other winners. My wife, she was my girlfriend then. We went down to Jamaica with 60 other crazy South Floridians and took over this hotel that had just opened and had a blast, and was able to tour the island a little bit and just fell in love with the place. So that's what made you fall in love with Jamaica. Is that what sealed the deal with your wife too? Yeah, she was dancing on the bed when I won that on the radio. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was that was back in the day before we had cell phones.
I remember. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, the song of the day was a Peter Frampton song, and it came on just as I was, I guess, about a mile from where we were staying then, and I was like, "Well, that's the song of the day." So I ran in, pushing the buttons, and because that's the kind of phones they were back then.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sitting there pushing the buttons. Caller 102. I had to be caller 105. I was like, oh, yeah. Started dialing again. Next thing I hear is the live voice. You're caller 105. I'm like, no way. So yeah, that was how it happened. It was crazy.
Awesome. Okay, so you go down to Jamaica and you fall in love with Jamaica.
Yep. Fast forward a few years, we've been there now a few times, and I became a travel agent in 2006. And I knew that Jamaica was going to definitely be a big part of my business. So, back then though, cannabis was illegal there, technically. Everybody thinks that Jamaica was a place that you could go and do it, and you could, you could get it pretty easily, but it wasn't legal.
Right.
So I couldn't really integrate it into my business at the time. So I had it, I didn't talk about it to my clients. I just kind of following the stigma and just keeping it on the down low with what I did. And, if I had some clients that talked to me about it, that was a different story. But
the old kind of stoner handshake. Do you smoke?
Yeah. You kind of get a feeling for people once you're talking to them, and you get an idea of what they're going to be all about. So some of them were a little bit more forthcoming, and we were able to kind of steer them in the right direction, as we say. I found out, I guess, that Jamaica passed some law changes around 2018. They changed the law actually in 15, but they really, just like everything else, it takes a little while for it to ramp up and actually have dispensaries and things. So they established a medical marijuana situation down there. Just like the dispensaries here, you walk in and they look almost exactly the same. It's really pretty cool. They actually sell merchandise in a lot of theirs, though. And here in Florida, you don't really have that too much. But
I'm sure I'd be buying more Jamaican merchandise, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're cool shops, and even in one of them down there, I'm going to kind of back up. It's called Island Strains. It's right in Montego Bay, right next to Margaritaville, on the bed. So it actually, you have the dispensary, and then you can walk outside, and they have a stage and a band and music and food, and you can chill and just a smoker's lounge. So it's really, really awesome. Right on Montego Bay.
That's a good day. That's a good day right there.
So, when I realized that the laws were changing, I started to think about having some kind of a cannabis experience down there. back in that time, I guess I was still calling them weed tours, because that was kind of my frame of mind. But I've learned a lot since then. And, now I'm treating them as cannabis tours, as they should be, with a high level of education. We're going to be learning a lot about the local stuff going on in Jamaica, right from the local folks down there. We'll have some really, really cool experiences we can get into a little bit. And, overall, it's just going to be one of those kind of things where I'm trying to break the stigma for myself. And I feel like there's a lot of other people that are at that point too, that they're ready to do that as well. So, for me, it's kind of like just my natural progression in my, cannabis world. And I think that I finding that other people are really into it too. So
yeah, well, thanks for being on Cannabis Conversations, because that's what this is about, is putting a face out there to normalize these cannabis conversations that we've been having on Clubhouse for months anyway. So we may as well have them openly on my YouTube channel now. So that was kind of why I was like, all right, time to start a new series. But yeah, so what can people look forward to at this Cannabis Jamaican retreat?
Well, basically, when you first arrive, now the first one I have scheduled is actually for December in the grill. It's from December 7th through 12th. And what's going to happen is when you first arrive, now the grill is an hour and a half away or so from the airport. I'll have private transportation ready for you there. Once you get in the shuttle, there'll be a baggie of infused popcorn and a pre-roll ready for you to go. So you'll have a nice little vibe from the airport. Trying to figure out if I can do some kind of a liquid infusion as well for them, give them a beverage, but working on that. But as far as then when they get to the hotel, they'll, of course, I'll be there and greet them. We're going to be staying at a smaller property right up on the cliffs in the grill. So the cliffs are really cool. There's no technically a beach, but you actually can go down the cliffs and get in the water right there on the cliffside. And it's just really different. It's really a lot of fun. There'll be a goodie bag waiting for you when you get there with what you'll need to get started. And it'll have, all the accessories plus definitely some ganja to get you going.
Are there, for those that like sandy beaches, are those close and accessible?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And actually we'll be experiencing bits and pieces of that as we go. So, no worries. There'll be some beach time if you choose. We'll be doing a lot of cannabis stuff though. So we'll be really trying to get into the local experience. And it's different than I think a lot of people realize, and it's different from experiences people might be finding in, the States, because there's a lot of, I guess, tours and I don't know, just different events that I've seen going on in Colorado and Washington and things like that. This is going to be a different experience.
Well, it's Jamaica. That's where the ganja religion comes from. So you're not just on vacation, you're you're having a religious, spiritual experience, whether you know it or not.
And we'll be actually meeting and hanging out with some Rastas, of course.
Excellent.
That's actually where our ganja for this trip will be coming from. And the Rastafarian Sacramento church there in the grill. The way they do it is very interesting. It's not, you're not purchasing, you're actually donating to the sacrament. And
like we do at Cannabis Church. So speaking of which, for those tuning in for the first time, David and I are talking about destination weddings. So if you would like a cannabis wedding with Pastor Casey as your pastor in Jamaica, hit up David and we can make some arrangements.
Absolutely. That's a whole different arm of what I'm looking to do that I'm so excited about. And that's why when I met you, I was like, wow, that's an area that we can really try to develop, because I know you do them there, where you are, and I know that people like to travel and do
weddings. Just yesterday at MJ BizCon, like this guy's like, wait a minute, are you really a pot pastor? Your shirt says pot pastor. I'm like, yeah. He's like, damn it. I just got married last Friday. Oh, he's like, I would have rather had you as a pastor. I was like, oh man, I was like, I was here. I was in town. Like,
Yeah. Well, it'll happen. They'll come.
There we go.
No,
they'll find us and we'll come. Exactly. So, all right. So, what's one of your favorite experiences and memories of Jamaica that you just love to tell people about? That it's like because like when I went to New Zealand, like the people there were amazing. It's some of the best food I've ever had in my entire life. Like I tell everybody to go to New Zealand. So, like, what's one of those things that sticks in your memory that you're just like, here's why you should go to Jamaica?
There's actually, I have a couple of them. So I'm going to give you two really quick ones. One that is related to cannabis and one not. The one not is actually related to coffee, which is the other thing that Jamaica is extremely well known for. If you don't know about Blue Mountain coffee, real Blue Mountain coffee, not the stuff you get at Starbucks, but real Blue Mountain coffee, you'll know it's good. It is smooth. It is awesome. But anyway, it was a few years ago, and I set up a private driver to take my wife and I up to the Old Town Tavern, which is up about 4,500 in altitude. And the way that the house was, it was built on the cliffs right on the mountainside. So the valley spread out underneath it with the coffee farm right underneath it.
Ooh.
And when we were standing there, she has like these open, the way the windows open, it's just like full glass open windows. The clouds rolled in, and it was just like we were standing there getting like hit with this mist of clouds, and it was, very, very cool experience. And of course we were a little buzzed too, but
you were standing in God's mister.
We were. I mean, that was a really, really interesting experience. So had to throw that one out there. And then another time, when I think that was actually the first trip, we did hire a car and to go and just do the countryside. It's just, we told them to take us out there, and they did. And of course we stopped at I'm sure these guys were very involved in the trade, but they, a little Rastafarian group that was set up on the side, off the road. So we got out there and we spent probably an hour just talking to them, not understanding a word they were saying.
Yeah.
They took this huge machete and they cut open the coconut, and we're just passing around this spliff, and it was just what you need to try to do in Jamaica, definitely on your first trip. I mean, it's something that you'll never forget. So,
and if you've never had fresh coconut water out of the coconut, fresh off the tree, you're missing out on life.
Yeah. The scary part is he had my wife hold the coconut as he hit it with the machete. So
that's part of they knew what they were doing. That's part of the experience.
It was the experience, that was for sure. So yeah, so that was my cool experience for that. But yeah, I mean, there's so many great experiences now in Jamaica that are hidden, that are just waiting to be developed, especially for cannabis, because there's so many people doing, edibles, or they're doing infused crafts. They're doing all kinds of cool things, and you just got to find them and talk to them and develop something with them. And that's what I've done. So we have some really cool things that we'd be able to experience there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now, I don't want to go down any rabbit holes, but what do people need to know COVID wise to be ready to travel for this?
Well, I'm going to start off with the changes that are going to be going on with the U.S. travel restrictions or protocols. Right now, the current protocols are, they don't look at the vaccination records on anybody, and so they're not doing what they call a vaccine passport or anything. So it's not something you need to do for the United States. What you do right now, if you're going to go anywhere, Jamaica, Mexico, or as they open up the rest of the world, you would be required to take a COVID test within 72 hours of returning home. Well, what's going to happen is starting November 8th, and that's a date that I think they're listing as actually opening up to the rest of the world to start coming back here. So like people from Europe can start coming here again. The protocol for that will remain the same if you're vaccinated. So now they haven't used the word vaccine passport, so I'm not going to get all political and go down that rabbit hole at all. But they're saying that somehow or another, people are going to be identifying themselves as being vaccinated or not. I'm assuming probably at the time when you check in for your flight. That's my guess as just what I can see happening, because you do that with your passport now. So it would seem to be an easy place to submit that. For folks that are vaccinated, it won't change. You'll just take a test within 3 days of coming back to the United States and destination. A lot of the big hotel chains are including or have a very low fee for their COVID tests. I know in general in Jamaica, they're running, if you had to pay for it yourself, between $60 and $100 for the antigen, a little bit more for the PCR. My retreat will have that included in the pricing. So nobody will have to worry about how they deal with that on what I'm doing. We'll be doing it right there at the hotel, and it'll be set up with the hotel management. So
Good.
No worries as far as that. Yeah.
That's convenient. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I experienced that when I was in Jamaica a couple times this year. So I see the ease and you don't want to have to worry about where you need to go to get your COVID test.
Right.
Now, the question is going to come in to be for the people that are not vaccinated. The rules are going to change. They're going to require that unvaccinated Americans returning home test within 24 hours of your departure. Now, does that mean one day like right now? So like if your flight's at 4 o'clock on Saturday, do you have to test at 4, anytime after 4 on Friday, or can you take it anytime on Friday? I'm waiting for a clarification on that, because they said 24 hours. Is that from the flight time or from the day you're going home?
Right. Still a lot to figure out.
I have a feeling it's from the day you're going home. I have a feeling if you probably take it at like 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, you're probably going to be within the protocols, but I'm not going to go out of my way and say that for sure yet.
Yeah, that's not your job until they say so anyway. How has the pandemic affected travel as a travel agent? I'm sure you're excited to get back,
Yeah, it's been a rough ride. It's been a very tough road the last year for travel agents. We've been, a lot of people talk about the restaurant workers and other factors in our economy. But yeah, our business just shut down. I mean,
you were one of the first ones hit, because like all the cruises, like right at the beginning of the COVID and the pandemic were I had friends on cruise ships when it went down.
And we had a double whammy, because not only did we have COVID then, stop us from being able to do any business going forward, we now had to spend free money to cancel people's bookings and spend time on hold hours. And again, please use a travel agent, people. I don't care if it's me or anybody else. You need a travel agent if you're going to travel, especially internationally. I was able to get most of the money back for most of my clients, but of course, I wasn't getting paid for anything, because travel agents only get money when they travel. We don't get it up front. So
you're not Expedia.
No. We actually take care of you and make sure you get to where you're going, and and if something bad happens, we're there to make sure we pick up the pieces for you. So that's then
how, sir?
Yeah,
David, friend.
Yeah.
How has cannabis helped you get through this pandemic?
You know what? It has probably been about the only thing that's gotten me through it, because I was able to concentrate on what I really wanted to do going forward. And I think cannabis helped me in that direction. So yeah, I think that I have a whole new focus now on how I want to take my business, how I want to take my, just my personality in general. I just want to, I think cannabis has really made my life a much better place.
And I thank Spotify's Green Room and Clubhouse and the cannabis community for helping me feel even, I've never really been shy about my cannabis use, but more open than I've ever. I mean, I started a damn cannabis church, so like I'm more I'm more open about it than ever now, and it's part of that. So moving forward, how do you want to move forward in the cannabis space with increasing normalcy and getting rid of decriminalization and deschedulization, and how do you feel about medical use versus adult use versus religious use?
Well, I am in Florida. I am a medical card holder now. I guess it's been 3.5 years. So I've learned a lot in that period of time about just, because to me back, like I was saying before that, it was just it was weed. It wasn't something I knew and understood. I met the dude and got what I got. Sometimes we'd hang out for a while. Sometimes we didn't, but I didn't know what it was. I just knew it made me sleep better, and I knew it helped me with my stomach, and I knew it helped me with anxiety. So I just, the times I stopped, I'm in my 50s now. And so over the years, at different points, people say you need to take a break for a while, and those breaks sucked. So,
I haven't taken a single break since I was 18. The only time I did was financially because I couldn't afford it.
Different job reasons at different points, and there were times where it was the right thing to do, but it was the wrong thing to do. So but now I've learned, and now I'm helping to try to expand my knowledge so I can actually talk in a educated way to people about it. I want to make sure that when I say things that it actually has the reality of the world of cannabis behind it. So I'm listening a lot in Clubhouse, which is awesome. And I want to thank all of you guys that are there, and they see my little face sitting there, and I'm kind of keeping my mouth shut, but I'm learning so much from you guys. So thank you. As far as, what I want to do, I'm thinking that these cannabis retreats can be the way to move forward for people like me to get out of the stigma, to realize that they can actually go places and do things in a very open way, just like wine experiences, just like beer experiences, just like any other cultural experience that somebody might go on to learn about, something as huge and amazing as what this plant can do for people. So I do plan to add more of an real educational part to what I'm doing. This first retreat is geared a little bit to me, as where I'm at my level of what I want to learn and experience. So for me, it was something more of, I'm calling it Ganja Roots for a reason. Nice. Because it's you have to start somewhere. And I think that just epitomizes where I'm at. And I think that that'll take a lot of people that if they choose to go to that next level as well. So,
well, let's talk about your logo real quick for Elevated Cannabis Adventures, because it's a great design, and you were telling me about it last night, and the significance of the hummingbird, which the way the feathers and the hummingbird line up with the serrated edges of the cannabis leaf plant is just like super gorgeous looking logo. So let's talk about that real quick.
Well, the concept of I came up with Elevated Cannabis Adventures because I really wanted to do something, again, that wasn't just going to be a weed tour. I'm not looking to just take people to Jamaica just to sit there and literally just get high for 5 days.
Right. Yeah. Get high, pass out on the beach, and turn it into a lobster. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's other people that can do that kind of a trip. Now, what I'm looking to do is give people an experience, that they can go home and they can say, crap, man, that was so freaking cool what Miss Connie showed us, and how to put that, how to make that edible, or how Miss Deborah showed us how to create some, infused creams and soaps. That's what I want people to experience and be able to take home and feel. It's really important for me to create that kind of a program.
That's awesome. Well, let's give you some kind of cannabis related rapid fire questions then, since this is a new series, Cannabis Conversations.
Okay.
Favorite way to consume?
Water bomb.
Okay. Favorite terpene?
Still learning.
So
I
am
like
I.
the florals. So I'm still, like I said, I'm really learning, so I'm trying to figure all that out. But the florals I like a lot.
What's the most important thing you've learned in the last several months about cannabis?
That there's a lot that I don't know.
Yeah, that's a damn fine answer.
Sorry, I mean it really is. I keep, like I said, I keep listening in these rooms, and I'm just like, God, these people have such knowledge, and I'm like, oh man. But yeah, that's what I want. And I learned that I really do want to start learning how to grow my own.
Yeah, it's the plant, once you start growing your own, teaches you a lot itself. I've learned, and I've learned even more of its sacredness and holiness since starting to grow my own, for sure.
Yeah.
Well then, since Down the Road Show is originally a nerd podcast and the first original video podcast on YouTube, I like to go back to my original favorite 3 questions to end every interview.
Okay.
Who's your favorite hero?
Hero. Boy, that's, I mean, in what genre though, man?
Well, it can be anything. I used to say superhero, and then people would get offended. You know, it'd be like a Batman's not a superhero, but he's a hero. Blah, blah, blah. So I just changed it to hero.
Yeah. I you know, if I'm going to go down the superhero role, I mean, I guess Superman was always the one I digged when I was a kid.
Why?
Because for the most part, it seemed like he always tried to do the right thing.
Yeah. Have you read or have you seen Red Sun?
No.
Okay. First of all, Superman is my number 1 answer because he is such a Boy Scout. But if he chose to be, could be the worst villain of all time.
Oh, yeah. So yeah.
So
nobody can stop him.
So Red Sun he lands in Russia instead of Kansas.
Oh.
And how that changes planet
Everything.
Earth. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
You find it, you're going to love it. It's a great cartoon DVD. The comic book is a great comic book. Okay, question number 2.
All right.
So your hero in any good story is only as good as bad as your villain is. So who's your favorite villain? Mine is Darth Vader.
I was actually really going that direction too, because I saw Star Wars in 1976. I was there, and when it first ran, I was probably 9 years old. You want to hear this bad part of the story, though?
Yeah, I want to hear it all. You have no idea. Star Wars is like one of my first religions, and It's the last movie I got to see in the theater, where I barely made it through because of my vertigo, and it's probably the last movie I'll ever see in a theater.
Well, you got a good one to go away with, for sure.
Yeah.
1976. We're sitting there, packed theater. Of course, it was begged my parents to take me to see it. They did. So get through all the way to where Luke is going in to shoot the final shot.
You're all killer, kid.
The screen, back old days, it was the bubbles, the whole screen fried.
Oh, fuck.
And all of us are sitting there going, what? Kids are crying. I probably cried. We were crying. Nobody knew what to do. The management was like blowing their heads off. They had no idea what to do. The only answer was they gave us our money back, and we went and saw it all over again just to see the final scene.
That's what they did back in the day. Because if it wasn't the screen, it was the film itself that would like break or something, and
Yeah, I mean, it was just like the bubbles, and you were just like, what happened? At 9 years old, you don't understand what that's all about. You just freak out.
No,
you wanted to see Luke take the shot.
Yeah, you missed the best part. You missed the explosion. Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. And final question: Who's your real life hero? Who inspires you on a daily basis? You know, when you think about.
You know what? I'm gonna have to, and this may be a little cheesy, but my wife, because she's out there every day working. She's in a medical assisting type role. She's been dealing with this COVID stuff for a year and a half in Florida, and all the craziness one way or another, wherever you are politically on it, she's seen it and dealt with it and heard about it. And so, yeah, right now she's definitely going to be that for me.
That's a beautiful answer. There's nothing cheesy about that. Are you kidding? I love it. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and your website, so that way they can start booking their elevated cannabis adventures.
Well, I actually have two websites that are going to be directed to the one site. I have Elevated Cannabis Adventures. It's a little long, so a lot of people, have a little hard time with it. So I also have elevatedjamaica.com. That'll take you right directly to the Jamaica page that is still under work, so bear with me on it. But you can go to the homepage from there. I also have the retreat that I was talking about, Ganja Roots, is listed and open and available for sale right now. You can catch me on my Facebook page. It's Elevated Cannabis Adventures. I'm also on Instagram under the same name. Here on Clubhouse a lot. So if you want to hook up with me on Clubhouse, I'm around quite a bit because I'm trying to learn and also network, get my name out. I figure the more I talk, the more people will hear about me. So, but my main priority right now is really sitting in a lot of these rooms and taking in the knowledge of these folks, because there's some cool people out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas just freely flowing right now.
It's crazy. It's stuff I'd have to pay money to go to a school not to get the same kind of education I'm getting from some of these guys. And even when they argue back and forth, it's still, there's a knowledge coming out of that. So it's really cool. It's just really good stuff.
Yeah, no, look, I love playing devil's advocate, and dissent and uncomfortable conversations always lead to growth. So I always encourage people to go out, have an uncomfortable conversation. It's going to make you a better person, especially if it's about cannabis and you're anti-cannabis. If you don't know anything about cannabis, hemp, CBD, THC, the difference between all of them, find someone who does and go have that conversation so you can get an education. And
that's why I'm here, because I think you guys have a lot of knowledge, and I totally appreciate it. So it'll help my tours and my retreats to get better as I learn more about cannabis and how it, just the whole world of it. So I'm excited. I think it's a great time to be in this place. I'm calling it a cannabis renaissance in some of my marketing. So I think it's really cool that I'm just at the end, the part of it. So I think it's cool. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited for you. I like that, cannabis renaissance. So let the renaissance begin. Jump on over to Clubhouse and see if Brittany has any follow-up questions for you. And thanks for everybody for watching this video podcast on the Down the Road Show YouTube channel, and checking out the audio podcast wherever you prefer to listen to your audio podcasts. We appreciate your love. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you, David. We appreciate all you cannabis enthusiasts and activists out there. Let's push that First Amendment right for our religious cannabis freedom. Go check me out at Cannabis Church. Make sure you follow the new YouTube channel for Cannabis Church. I would appreciate that very much. And David, I will see you somewhere down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you.